Awesome. Well, it is 1 o'clock. Hopefully we'll have some more folks join us, but really at this point, we are essentially looking for feedback. So any feedback we get at this point is going to help make the program better. So this is a presentation, yes, but it's also just kind of an open forum to discuss the program for those of you that participate in it, as well as those that are just kind of interested in hearing more about it and maybe potentially offer some suggestions as to how to make that better. So my name is Matt Beck. I'm the NIRSA Region 4 representative. I'm also a hail out of Oklahoma State University. And for us, luckily the sun is out, first time in several days. So that's a very welcome sight. And again, before we get going, I want to thank our sponsors. Again, this wouldn't be able to happen and make it free to everybody without their support. So I want to give them a huge shout out. So let me share my screen here and then we'll get rolling. All right, give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Good? All right, well, let's move right along. Again, we've already thanked sponsors, so that box is covered. So the program itself, how many of you, just quick show of hands, participate in the program or have at some point? Okay, so a good number of you at least. That's good to know. So hasn't been around for a great amount of time, but it's been around long enough to have had a few iterations in terms of mentor pairs throughout the years. And essentially the goal, as you can see here, we're trying to give people opportunities to connect and develop networks and really strengthen people within the association, hopefully make the association better through partnering of people. Obviously, mentorship is something that as an industry that we believe in heavily, and so we want to hopefully continue to facilitate that. And so through NIRSA, we've had this program. However, participation, as I'll show you later on in the presentation, isn't really where we want it to be. I remember I did a session at last year's regional conference in Tulsa, and I just happened to mention the NIRSA Mentor Program. I think there were 60 people in the room at the time. And I just asked for a show of hands, how many people have even heard of the Mentor Program? I think maybe 10 to 12 people raised their hands, not very many. And if you look at the total membership in Region 4, so we have roughly 550 paid members in the region. And we've only got about 40 people, 40 individuals participating in this program. So that's something that we're hoping to increase. And again, if we do that, it helps people out. It helps our industry make it better, especially these young people that we hope to plug into opportunities and help make them grow so we can make the industry better. So that's essentially just an overview of the program. Once you, or if you want to get involved with this, again, a lot of you have already, you would submit an application on the NIRSA website. The link is there for you to be a mentor or a mentee. One thing that I actually noticed as I was prepping for this that I think Sarah, I saw her on the call, that her and I can talk about at headquarters, it's hard to find. So unless you Google NIRSA Mentor Program, you can't find it on the site. That it looks like it's on the Connect tab, but if you go to the Connect tab, it's not there. So accessibility is a first hurdle that, again, with which NIRSA HQ will hopefully look to make that easier for people to access. So once you go in there and you apply, you receive confirmation from a member of our committee. So essentially, the regional reps are assigned different working task forces, and the mentor program is one. It's the one I sit on. And so it's like myself, Ryan Hagan, who's the Region 1 rep. We've got and other student reps from other regions that kind of make up that committee. So we receive the applications and we try to pair folks, and then we reach out to them, let them know who they've been paired with, along with bios, so they can kind of get an overview of who they've been paired with before they talk to them initially, and then they're kind of off to the races. So every month we try to send out a triple play. I'm sure some of you probably received the triple play emails that kind of outline some activities that you can do with your pair, or just some talking points that you can kind of get into. And so something as a committee that we're really interested in getting feedback from you guys, and we'll kind of get to that point later, is are you using that triple play month in and month out with the people that you're paired with? Or do you just use it as maybe a jumping off point? That's what's kind of my experiences. So I've been paired with, 4 or 5 different people throughout the years. And typically we'll use a triple play just as kind of a get to know you type activities. And then we kind of jump off onto other topics depending on kind of what their interests are. And the way the program is set up, it's not just professionals and graduate assistants. I think that was the first iteration of it. So it also has a function now where GAs can mentor undergraduates as well. So we have several that do that. So the conversations that take place could be very different than the initial iteration of it. So this is kind of an example of what a triple play looks like for those that haven't seen it. So this is verbatim the email that was sent out in October, I believe, just to get people going. Again, just a short discussion, or we'll send out videos that people can watch and then have people kind of reflect on that and talk about takeaways. And we do this every month. So this isn't something that's handed to us. We create these every month. And as you can imagine, it doesn't take 5 minutes. It takes a little bit of work to put these things together, and we kind of rotate who's responsible for doing that. But if we're going to continue to do that, make that effort, we want to make sure that it has value. So as I mentioned previously, if it is something that just serves as a jumping off point, we might just send a triple play to new pairs, as opposed to sending it to everybody every month. Because if it's just something that you see in your inbox and you just kind of overlook, and you're going to call your person anyway and just talk about whatever you plan to talk about, which is great. But again, if we can reserve our efforts for other things, we'll try to do that. So here's, again, an example of triple play. And we've got a whole slew of them going back a few years that we can pull from. So if we were just going to offer it to initial pairs, we've got a library that we can pull from, so we wouldn't have to create them every month. So I do have some questions for the group. And again, just to get feedback and try to make the program better. So I know we got some people in here that do have some mentor-mentee pairs, which is great. That's kind of what we were looking for. So first question, on average, how often do you guys connect? So is it just maybe once a month or more often than that? What do you guys, what do you do with your pairs?
Hey, Matt, it's Ross with UT Austin. I currently have 2 mentees in this program. One is a professional staff member, one is a GA. And the professional staff member and I meet every 2 weeks just to have conversations. What's unique about that pair is that I'm in facility operations and my mentee is in fitness and wellness and programming. And so it gives us a little bit of a different lens to look through, which is great. Because I'm continuing to learn from her as much as she is. Hopefully I'm helping her. But then with my GA right now, with them being in midterms and with us being in regional conference period of time, we're meeting once a month, but I've done twice a month with GAs as well.
Nice. Any other feedback from others that have a mentee mentor pair? Not everybody at once. Britton Lyon, I'm going to pick on you. I see your name. And I know you have a mentee. How often do you talk?
I try to reach out to her usually once a month to see how everything's going. I think our communication will probably pick up because I believe she's planning on graduating in May. So I feel like I will be reaching out to her more, and hopefully she can do the same, reaching back to me.
Now, is she in the same program area?
Yes, I believe she is.
Okay. And I think that's a good point that Ross brought up, that when you fill out the application, we can pair you with somebody that's from the same area. So for instance, Ross's facilities, we could have paired him with somebody that's facilities, or you do have the option to not have a preference. So you can get paired with somebody else that's looking to to do something else. I know my mentee is from Region 2, and she's a fitness GA. And so again, it's not that I don't have fitness experience, but that's not my primary. But it leads to some different conversations, and it helps her kind of get out of her comfort zone a little bit, as well as me. So from a mentor perspective, that has helped me kind of stretch a little bit too. And I think that's where this program, the goal of it to kind of mutually challenge and stretch people kind of plays in. So while it's great to connect with somebody in your area, there's benefit to both sides. Anybody else that wants to speak to how often they connect? Even if it's even if it's not through NIRSA mentor program, if you have a mentor mentee, how often do you check in? All right, I'm gonna start picking up. Go ahead, Jamie. Go ahead.
It's not in the mentor mentee, but being part of the Region 4 Fitness Committee and having a Kansas Fitness Committee, both of those groups meet monthly. And we meet through Zoom on both accounts, and we'll have emails between that time to stay in communication.
Awesome. Clee Sellers, I see you on the call. I know you're part of the program or have been. What's been your experience?
Yeah, I would say that we touch base once a month on average, but there's also like times throughout the month we follow each other on social media as well. So we kind of follow each other through that and are able to kind of communicate through that as well.
Okay, cool. Well, moving on. So if you were involved with the program, or those of you that are involved with the program, how likely are you to utilize a triple play, or do you utilize the triple play?
I'll go first on this, Matt. We are aware of the triple play, and we definitely look at it, but I don't think that really guides our conversation. I think we typically kind of just catch up, see how each other's doing in our lives, and then we kind of, if there's something that my mentee is looking to do professionally, we kind of help, or I kind of help with that professional development piece. But I don't know that we necessarily stick directly to that unless we're just struggling to find something for the month to talk about.
Yeah, Matt, I'd echo what Clee's saying too. Is it's a template. It's definitely there as a conversation starter if we need it. But if there's something that's really eating at our mentees or my mentees and they want to talk about something in more specific, then obviously we dive into something that's more directed towards what they want to talk about. But it's good to have in case, those conversations are hit a wall or you need something else to go in a different direction.
Right. And I didn't speak to my experience for question one of how often do you connect. So I have, through the mentor program, just connected with one person. But I informally mentor about 4 other professionals, and there is one where we talk often. So it's whenever he has a question or challenge or problem that he comes across that he wants some feedback on, he'll call, he'll text. So our communication channel is pretty frequent, but that's professional to professional. To where it might be a different dynamic. Going back to the triple play, would it be more helpful if we just provided the mentor in the relationship with maybe access to a shared drive with the triple plays, where you can kind of sort through it and find topics that are relevant to what's going on with your pair?
Yeah, Matt, I think having access to that library would be beneficial, because I was actually looking through my email and can't find the October triple play even in my recycle folder, but I can't find it. So it'd be nice to have access to a library. This way, if there's something that I don't remember seeing, it'd be nice to be able to look through and have those resources.
Right. Any other feedback on that? All right, moving on to question 3 then. So how helpful do you find this program, those of you that engage in it? Has it been worthwhile?
I
I'm gonna
can
start
talk.
picking on others. There we go.
I'll talk briefly just from my experiences from my undergrad before I came to Oklahoma State. My mentor was actually my future coworker. So Brandon Vermea was a first year GA down here in Oklahoma State, and we luckily got paired together, and really that relationship kind of blossomed and really brought me to apply down to Oklahoma State and come down here and work with him. So I think from that perspective, from my undergraduate experience with the mentor program, it really brought me down to Oklahoma State, and I think it's kind of a unique and somewhat surprising that happened that way. But I wouldn't have liked it any other way now that I'm here.
No, that's awesome. You guys were also roommates, and I wouldn't be shocked if you're going to be in Brandon's wedding either. But I think that brings up an interesting question, Britton, that I had for you. So GA to undergrad, of how that dynamic works. Can you speak to maybe how that is different than maybe a mentor relationship that you have from or with a professional?
Yeah, so I reapplied after I moved down here, obviously, because I didn't need Brandon to be my official mentor anymore. And that new relationship hasn't been the same. I've reached out, but that person hasn't necessarily reached back out to me. So I think that's something for me. I want to kind of reapply, I guess, if that's the right words for it, and see if I can get a new relationship with that. So I really don't have a good answer for that question, Matt, in terms of my mentee relationship with the mentor.
Well, you did actually spur up another question for me, for maybe the group at large. So right now we really don't have a good mechanism in place to kind of step in when that situation that Britton described happened, when either a mentor or a mentee is not responsive, unless they back out to us and tell us that's what's going on, and we try to get them repaired. Because there's really no official end to them. If you want a relationship to keep going, you're more than welcome to. It's kind of on a calendar year. If people reapply, we repair them with somebody else. But it's really informal how that works right now. And so we're working on an evaluation, kind of like an exit interview of how different relationships went, so we can give people feedback. 'Cause that kind of coaching maybe is one thing that we've lacked so far, that maybe we're not good at being a mentor, or maybe we're not good at receiving mentorship from somebody else. So that's something that we're actually working on right now, is how to receive that feedback from the pairs, so we can hopefully make the experience a little bit better. And would you guys like more from us to help that relationship, or less? I'm going to start calling on people. Just wait.
I'll speak up, Matt.
There
From my experience, I participated in this program when I was with Fort Hayes, before I came to OSU, and really the dialogue that I had with my mentor was based around that triple play, and that was really all that our conversation was. So I do think that it's important that the region provides some sort of structure for people to base their relationship off of. But our interaction was pretty inconsistent. So I think that it's definitely helpful to have those touch points to get that started.
No, that's great feedback, Brittany. Thank you.
Hey, you guys. This is Catherine from UH. So this is actually my first year being able to participate in the Mentee Mentor Program. Not the first year signing up, but the first year that I actually got assigned a mentee. I think something that could be really cool is, and I don't know if someone mentioned this already, but having almost like a pre-meeting for the mentors, just like as a layout of expectations, or even a time for us to kind of talk and figure out how we're going to navigate it. Just because I don't think like mentorship looks the same for everyone, but being able to have a group where you can kind of talk through it, especially if it's your first time would be really beneficial. Luckily for me, like my grad program, we had to actually go through like what mentorship looked like for coaches. But I think if we could do that for anyone that's signing up, it kind of gives them a more sense of comfort as they kind of walk through building that relationship with their mentees.
No, that's great feedback. And one thing that I know I have utilized, if we ever have in-person conferences ever again, is the take a student to lunch. So if you know your mentee or mentor pair, that's a automatic. You can take them to lunch and have a conversation in person that's a little bit less formal, just to kind of get to know them as a human being and help connect them. I think that's been the biggest thing that I've been able to do for mentees, really, is just help connect them with others and opportunities. Just talking to them and finding out what it is that they kind of want to do and where they want to go, as more so than maybe the triple play is. But hopefully we can be more intentional as we, again, have in-person conferences, that maybe we can pair those mentee mentor pairs for take a student to lunch just right off the bat to make that happen. And so the last question that I have for folks is, and this is to anybody, those of you that participate in it, or now that you've kind of heard a little bit about it, just some feedback in general, how could we make this better, more valuable for you? And sorry, I apologize. I just now saw the chat. When I've got dual monitors and sharing screen, it makes it to where I can't see it. So now I see the questions, so it's all good. But how can we make it better?
Matt, I think, and this is me just from, I didn't traditionally go, when it first started using the triple play, I would go off on what they needed or what they were talking about or what was going on in their lives at that point. But I think the new move of using Zoom or whatnot, now seeing more face-to-face versus a phone call, or like Ross said in the group, make a group via Facebook or something like that. Because I know there's been times where me and Ross would meet with one individual or take a student to lunch. We'd purposely group our groups together to show that, yes, even though we're in Texas, because we're down here, everybody's connected, but you can reach out to other individuals in the region or in the areas that you're currently in. So, but the one thing that I would like to see is probably just more, instead of waiting until the actual conferences to do things, actually having something like this once a month or anything of that nature, or doing something with the region, like, or do with different states, something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to build off what Carlos has to say. And I think that this era that we're currently in presents itself to be an interesting time for us to do something like how we've done Ideas in Motion in those virtual roundtables throughout the entire time. But there's no reason why we can't do like a virtual brown bag for the mentor mentee, so, network, where we can get together and have breakout rooms. Because, Carlos and I were very intentional about when we'd go to national conferences or when we'd go to the Facilities Institute and we had to take a student to lunch day, we would usually find each other, but then also find people like, he's got a wealth of a network all over this country. I've got a pretty decent network all over this country. And I'd try to link them up with people from other regions so that our students could see maybe what life is like differently, or just have a little bit bigger network going into their young professional careers. I think there's an opportunity for us to do maybe like a monthly brown bag with breakout rooms, to give not only the mentor and the mentees an opportunity to meet more people, but for like the mentors, sometimes they hit a wall and they need some resource. They need to bounce some ideas off of somebody, or something like that.
I really like that idea. And especially now that we have a vehicle in a regional purchase Zoom, so people don't have to utilize their university accounts. We could definitely make that happen. And I have a list of people that are Region 5, either mentors or mentees. And I know Region 1 and 2 and 6 and 5, and probably Canada also, and 3, sorry, I don't want to leave them out, would welcome this too, to where we could be more intentional. I think that's the one thing that I see that we're lacking, is the intentionality in this. And that's a great point, Ross. I think that I will definitely bring that idea up to the group and see what we can help get done.
I mean, like on one hand, I love the fact that it's kind of organic and free flowing and you meet when you can and focus on what you need to. But I think something that hurts it a little bit is the fact that it's organic and free flowing and there's not a whole lot of accountability to it. Some of that's on the mentors, some of that's on the mentees, some of that's on the program itself.
No, absolutely. Any other feedback? How could the program be improved? Great stuff, guys.
Matt, I know you mentioned an evaluation process. You talked briefly about it before. I think I jumped on. But if we even went in a little deeper with what y'all have talked about so far and seeing what areas most people are struggling with, and then basing documents around that, and if we did have a Facebook group, putting those resources in the Facebook group for people to utilize, whether that's like frequently asked questions or different areas of struggles.
Sure, no, that's a great idea. How do you apply for the program if you aren't currently involved? So Matt, I see your question, so I'm going to go back a couple slides so you can see there is a link right there to the site. So once you go there, you will find the application to be either a mentor or a mentee. Good question. All right, so we're lacking in time here, so I want to go over a little bit of some numbers that I kind of alluded to earlier. So the total program nationwide and including Canada, we really only have 133 pairs with this. So that's not a lot. When you think about how many members that are in NIRSA, that's really not a lot. And a lot of folks just don't know about this. So I think we can do a better job as leadership of putting the word out of what this can do and making it better so people find value in it. So that's something we're committed to doing. I know when I gave the talk at the beginning of the conference, I mentioned that the member network, one of our main goals and priorities is the mentor program. And so recruitment, retention, and then this program to help push this and make it better. So if you look at Region 4, 46 total people. That's it. A lot of you are on this call. So maybe I'm preaching to the choir, but your feedback is important because you're involved in it. So 20 mentors and 26 mentees. So this is the first time in a while we have more mentees or we have more mentors than we have mentees. Usually it's the other way around. So we need more people that want to be mentored to get plugged into this. And a lot of it may just be they're not aware. So definitely help us spread the word. Share that link with folks. We're going to post this on the Region 4 site, probably also post it in our newsletter that we put out for November to help kind of push people towards this so we can kind of build some momentum as we approach the virtual annual conference that's going to occur in February. But yeah, appreciate your feedback. And so I'll take any questions from the group. Hopefully I can answer them. If you want to put them in the chat, I can get to them. Okay, so Rick posted a kind of a question / comment. Could there be items that could be due at certain times that would be an aspect of completing the mentor-mentee at one time a year? So are you talking about like maybe having each pair do like a personality assessment and then discuss it and have deadlines for that? Is that kind of what you're getting to, Rick?
I don't know. I mean, like, whether they're, so there was kind of a conversation earlier about there wasn't really an end to the mentor-mentee processing type thing. So if there was quarterly things that needed to be turned in, and then that would make a year we complete our whether you want to continue the just the camaraderie communication or not, but to complete the process at the end of a year because we turned in, these 3 things or these 4 things throughout the year that we've communicated about this structure, or, I don't know, I don't have the answer, but I was just wondering if that would.
No, that's a great idea.
Make sure the process is moving forward to a completion time frame, and then if something continues on after a year or not, then that's up for debate.
Sure. No, that's a great idea. I'll definitely add that to the list. Well, folks, we are unfortunately out of time. I am going to save the chat, and so I'll have that if anybody would like it. I will also be posting this presentation on the NIRSA Region 4 YouTube channel. So all of the presentations will be available hopefully Friday before I have to leave for a football game. That's my goal, to get them all up. So we'll see if we can get that done. And again, if you have any questions about the program itself, feel free to reach out to me at r4rep@nirsaleaders.org or at my Oklahoma State email, mrbeck@okstate.edu, and I can hopefully either get you plugged in or get a question answered for you. So guys, I appreciate you taking the time today, and have a great afternoon. Thank you guys for participating in the conference. I appreciate it. All right, we'll see you guys. Stop sharing and end screen.